Charges have been dropped, for now, against the accused architect of the attack on the USS Cole 8.5 years ago. It was believed that President Obama would notify the families of the victims and others involved ahead of time. But as national correspondent Catherine Harrods reports, it didn't work out that way.
The families of the USS Cole, who lost 17 sons in a suicide attack 8 years ago, were notified by the White House Thursday afternoon that President Obama wanted to meet with them and the 9/11 families. Just hours later, the commander of the USS Cole learned from Fox News that charges were withdrawn without prejudice against the alleged planner, a Saudi, Abd al-Nashiri, who is being held at Guantanamo Bay. It means future charges can be brought against al-Nashiri, who remains in custody. But he is one of 3 detainees who was waterboarded by the CIA, which means some evidence will probably never get into court.
Well, there's no doubt that being waterboarded can potentially present a problem going forward in the prosecution. But remember that al-Nashiri was involved in the '98 embassy bombings and could easily be held accountable for that.
As President Obama headed to the meeting, at least 2 Cole families, including that of Gary Swinchonis, complained to Fox that the president should have met with them first to hear them out before the charges were withdrawn.
I think that's just bad timing, real bad, to wait the day before to pull the rug out from under your feet. That's just cold.
The Swinchonis family turned down the president's invitation. They told Fox the rights of detainees almost always seem to come first.
These human rights groups and these far left liberals, that want these terrorists released. I just don't understand that. Our son was an American, and he deserves to have, his rights honored.
According to Swinchonis, a White House aide agreed to get this letter to the president, which reads in part, "I know that we, the Cole families, are a small group, and that is one of the reasons that we have been ignored by 2 administrations. Yet, unfortunately, I think that small groups of victims of terrorist attacks may continue to grow here in America." In January at Arlington Cemetery, where their son Kenneth is buried, the Clodfelters told Fox of their personal frustration.
I've always felt that I have a right to be present at any trial, at any execution that there is.
I know where justice in the end is going to come from, and that's when good Lord takes them from here, and they have to stand in front of him and have to account for what they did. There is no 72 virgins waiting for them when they get there, wherever they're going.
And just a few minutes ago, we had a briefing from the commander of the USS Cole after that meeting wrapped up at the White House. And he told reporters that he was pleased with the meeting and that he felt that the families of the Cole and the 9/11 families would have a seat at the table. We're still awaiting a statement from the White House about that meeting. But earlier today, Press Secretary Robert Gibbs said that the president wanted to explain to the families his rationale for closing Guantanamo Bay. What's interesting is that Gibbs had a hard time reconciling the president's stated goal of swift justice with the suspension of those military commissions, Brett.
Interesting story. Catherine, thank you.
You're welcome.